Hi, this is John Anthony. This is FTT 217 week 3 assignment. This is going to be going over some critical components and their critical dimensions in the class. The three components that I selected are pretty much the bolt carrier group, and the barrel extension. I do have everything sit down. I just have the upper. There's no live ammo, no loaded weapons around here in my gunsmithing area. But pretty much just going to be talking about everything, showing you kind of everything. I'm going to read off the prompt of the things I should cover and things I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to get started. What are the critical dimensions associated with these parts? This will be the first part. What potential malfunctions might happen. We'll talk through about the malfunctions that could happen if something's not clean, something's damaged, or what's going on with those things. What damage, if likely, is going to happen. What training should a gunsmith undergo, and what additional components interact with each other. We'll talk about that, and I selected the parts that I did because they interact with each other, and it should be a smooth transition talking about that. The critical dimensions. So let's go and start with the bolt, and we're going to move to bolt carrier group, to the barrel extension, and talking about the critical dimensions on how they kind of interact with each other as well. Some of the critical dimensions over here are going to be the lock and lugs. Super important. That's going to ensure the headspace is right. It's going to ensure that you're going to have a nice, clear, tight lockup in the chambering process of the firing process. You don't want too much space. You don't want not enough space where it doesn't unlock and you're going to have a single shot rifle. You want to have these dimensions, these teeth, correct when putting the firearm together or assembling the firearm. Another critical dimension over here is the spacing of this distractor. This is what SDI sent me. This is a single distractor. Not a problem with it, but dimensions have to be right and everything has to be right on the extractor, because you have to pull that bullet out once you fire it, once the combustion sequence and the gas operation has fully cycled your rifle. You want that to work. Another super important part is going to be the opening of this bolt. You want that clear and free, so your firing pin can move inside of this thing. You want that thing to be able to fit inside there. If your firing pin doesn't fit, you're gonna have a problem. This is the heart of your weapon. If the heart of your weapon doesn't have any blood circulating, pumping through it, your heart's not gonna work. So you want to make sure your veins, your arteries, your aortas, everything's open, clean, and nice and healthy, just like that. You see it moving in there. Speaking of, make sure everything works free and clear. Switching to the bolt carrier group, you also want your bolt carrier group. You want to have this same bolt that has to go to the bolt carrier group. You want your bolt to actually fit in here. You want to actually go down. Since we know the firing pin fits, it's going to fit inside this bolt, which is going to go inside the bolt carrier group. You're going to have this cam hole track up here. It's going to line up with the cam hole slot up in here, and then your cam pin is going to slide in there. If this cam hole track is not lined up, or if it's not spaced properly, or if it's not within specs, well, then when this cam pin is inside the bolt, you're not going to have a free track to let this thing go down, up, back and forth when cycling. So when you have a shot in your rifle, if this thing's not going forward, your fire pin's not going to reset. It's not going to strike the next round. Again, it goes back to the single shot rifle that you might have in this process. Going to the next thing. When that's fully assembled, when that's in your gun, obviously, bolt's going to be in here. Going to go into your upper. It's going to slide in here. And the next part is going to be your barrel. I will tell you how it's going to interact after I kind of talk about some key dimensions. You kind of want to make sure that you have the right gas tube size, gas port size. You want to make sure, obviously, when having this rifle, it is the caliber specific that you need. You don't want to shoot, obviously this is a 5.56. You don't want to shoot 5.56 out of something that someone builds that they don't know what's going on with a 9 mil barrel. That's going to be catastrophic, and that can lead to somebody really, really getting hurt, possibly even losing a life, which you do not want to do. So when putting this together, you want to ensure that you have the proper stamping on there. It's 5.56 NATO. You're going to be good to go to shoot 5.56 or 2.23 out of it. We're going to make sure you want to make sure that your barrel extension is good when changing the barrels out. I know a lot of people have some problems when barrel and barrel extension, when they put everything together, everything's lining up. If everything doesn't line up in that little star chamber, and you have your bolt that's supposed to actually go inside there and lock up, if everything's not lining up in there, you're going to have some malfunctions on the locking, the resetting, the firing. You're going to have a whole lot of issues in there. I know it is super soft in there. It is aluminum in there. It's not anodized like the rest of this. So you have to be super careful on who you take it to and who's working on your weapon. Because if they're doing any work, changing out barrels for you, cleaning anything, working on anything in here, and they go in here and they go into your barrel extension and go into your barrel extension ramps, and they're cleaning and gnawing in there with some marring tools or anything like that, and they get in there with a softer aluminum in there, they're going to jack that up, and you're going to have all sorts of lockup issues, and that weapon's going to be unsafe and not really serviceable or usable. So just make sure who you take it to knows what they're doing, and that goes to the next part. The next part is what kind of training should a gunsmith undergo and avoid causing damage to these components? I'm not saying everybody needs to go to SDI. I know we are in the SDI course. We are learning here. We are in class. Not everybody needs to go to SDI, but they should go to SDI or some kind of armoring school or some kind of school that teaches teaches the specifics in the firearms and the specifications of them. There's tons of schools, there's tons of training for specific platforms or specific firearms themselves. Hopefully, after this, I can go to a 1911 course, and since that's what I carry on duty, and learn more about that. That being said, that's going to wrap up this week, and can't wait to see you next week and get to the next step of this course. Thank you.